Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Mitch's 미친영어. I'm here to help you at work, in your business, in your life, when you're speaking English, when you need to speak English confidently, professionally. Come to this channel and I will help you. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. All right, we are going to talk about something that is very modern today. We're going to talk about remote communication because these days, actually not just these days, the last 5-6 years, everybody has been doing a lot of remote communication. Maybe you're working remotely. Working remotely means working from home or some other place, not going to the office. And usually that means by video, by Zoom a lot of times, or some other Microsoft Teams or something like that. When you communicate, when you have a meeting on Zoom, on Microsoft Teams, on Google Meet, any of those platforms, it can, we've all been there. It can be awkward, it can be strange, it can be a little bit difficult, especially in English. Okay, so I'm going to give you some good phrases to use today when you're in a Zoom call, when you're doing a remote meeting. These are phrases that will help you for each step of the process because generally the same issues come up every time when you have a meeting on Zoom, when you have a meeting on video conference call, similar issues each time. Okay, so let me give you some good phrases for that. Okay, so for example, audio video issues. This is a problem, right? Whenever you have a problem like someone's on mute, sometimes they accidentally press the mute button. Sometimes there's an echo. Sometimes there's a lag, L-A-G, lag. That means delay, right? There's a delay, connection's not good, lots of issues with that, right? So let me give you some phrases for this, okay? If there's audio video issues, let's say the mic is on mute, that situation, say like this, say, I think you're on mute. We can't hear you just yet. You can say their name too. If it's someone specific, you say, I'm sorry, Mitch, I think you're on mute. We can't hear you just yet. Or another one, Mitch, you're muted. Could you unmute yourself real quick? Could you unmute yourself real quick? When you say could you and real quick, that's kind of polite business English. If you just said, Mitch, you're on mute, unmute yourself, it sounds too rude. So if you ask it in a question, could you unmute yourself? That's good. But when you say real quick, that's just a polite way to say like, it's not going to take long, just if you could, it's a way in English we often do this to kind of deflect the command, right? We're really commanding this person, hey, turn your mic off mute. But we don't want to say it like that, so we add these other words. Do you think you could maybe just real quick unmute yourself? Okay, that's too many, but just for an example. So say it like that. Mitch, you're muted. Could you unmute yourself real quick? Very natural way to say it. Okay, now let's say there's some echo, there's some background noise. This happens a lot. You can say it like this. I'm hearing a bit of an echo on the line. If you're not speaking, could you please mute your mic? Okay, because when there's so many people, sometimes there's too much noise. So it helps if the people who are not speaking mute their mic. So in that situation, say it like that. I'm hearing a bit of an echo on the line. If you're not speaking, could you just, please mute your mic for me? That would be a nice way to say it. Or this way, there's some background noise coming through. Let me mute everyone for a moment to clear it up. In that case, I'm going to mute you. So you can do that too on some platforms, right? So there's some background noise coming through. Let me just mute everyone for a moment just to clear it up. Okay? That way, it doesn't seem like you're muting them because you don't want to hear them. You're letting them know, like, look, I think this will fix the background noise issue. I will unmute you when it's your turn to speak, or you can. Okay, now what if there's lag? Lag means delay. Sometimes this happens, the connection's not good. Frozen screen, sometimes they get frozen. What do you say? Say, sorry, you're breaking up a bit. Could you repeat that last part? Sorry, you're breaking up a bit. Breaking up means, connection is not good. So you're breaking up a bit. Could you repeat that last part? Or your video is freezing. Your video is frozen, we say like that. Frozen or freezing. Maybe try turning off your camera to save bandwidth. Okay, because sometimes if you turn off the camera, it saves the bandwidth and then won't freeze. Okay, depends on the computer and their internet connection, where you're calling, all of that. So that could be a fix. You could say, your video is freezing. Maybe try turning off your camera to save bandwidth. Okay, so offering those kind of suggestions are helpful. You know, it's good to know some of the technical aspects of Zoom and Google Meet and these kind of things. Like, it's good to know before you join a conference call, you need to know where are the audio settings, where are the video settings, what are the functions of this platform, and if something goes wrong, how do we fix it, right? That's very important. And then another thing, sharing screens, okay? Because, you know, these days, if you have a slide deck or some presentation you want to share on the screen, again, figure out how to do it before the meeting. But we say it like this. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. Let me know when you can see it. Let me know when you can see it, okay? Because sometimes, you know, it doesn't work or whatever. But it's just a way to say, this is a transition into sharing your screen. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. Let me know when you can see it. Or like this, let me bring up the deck for this week's project. Is my screen coming through okay? Let me bring up the deck. Bring up, the deck means slide deck or presentation, PPT, whatever you want to call it, for this week's project. And then ask the question, is my screen coming through yet? That means, can you see it? Okay, I mean, these are all just, there are many ways to say these phrases, okay? I'm just giving you some simple ones that you can use that will sound very natural, okay? You could just say, can you see it? That's fine, but this sounds better. Is my screen coming through okay? And then, you know, let's say there's troubleshooting. Sometimes we have to fix a problem, but you don't know what the problem is. They don't know what the problem is. So in that case, we have to troubleshoot. So we say like this. You know, it might take a second to load and then wait. If it's loading, it's not coming up. You say, oh, my slide deck's not coming up. It might take just a second to load. Just give me a second. And then when you're ready, when it shows up, say, okay, there we go. And then start. Okay. Doesn't have to be a panic moment, right? You don't have to panic. You don't have to, oh no, what are we going to do? Just say like that. Oh, you know what? This might take just a second to load. Just give me a minute. Okay, there we go. And then start. Or, you know, I'll stop sharing now and I'll hand it back over to you. So let's say you're sharing your slide presentation, and then now it's time to give it back to the boss or whoever. You could say, okay, I'll stop sharing now and I'll hand it back over to you. Okay, that means you take it now. I'm done. I'm finished. Okay, that's a very smooth way to stop sharing if you're presenting on Zoom, something, you know, you're sharing your screen and now you're finished. Time to move on to the next person. Then you say it like that. Okay, so those are some very good phrases for you when you are on a Zoom call, on conference call, Teams, whatever it is that you use. All of those phrases will help you to have a smooth and very productive meeting, and it will not be so awkward, because we all know these video conference meetings, they can be awkward and they can be stressful, but they don't need to be. They don't need to be. Try to study these phrases in this video, and that will help you a lot. Okay, if you go to my website at mitchinenglishcoach.com, there you can sign up for classes with me if you want to learn more of these kind of phrases and tips. If you want to sign up for my online video courses, there you can check those out on my website. Okay, everybody, that's it for today. Study hard. I hope your video conferences go well.